If I want to have a relationship with you, I must be sensitive to your world. I must be sensitive to your imagination. Otherwise, my swaha will always be wrong and my tatasti will always fail. And that is where the problem starts. You see, how do I imagine myself? Everybody wants to be an alpha predator. This is the lion. I go to sales conferences a lot. And in every sales conference, they always show a lion. Because there is a shared legacy, a shared will. Nowadays, Make for India is also a lion. Why is lion such important? Because it is on top of the food chain. It is on top of the pecking order, and if we admire it, we will never put the image of a rat, or a rabbit, or a snake, or a snail. Certainly not a microorganism. We want big, strong things like the lion with ferocious teeth. What is the reality of our lives? This is the reality. Every lion is in cage. There are rules, systems, processes binding all of us. All of us. And that becomes important. You see, as the organization grows, as the organization changes, as you transform, more and more rules come. And people keep wondering, why are rules coming? The rules are coming because you want to de-risk yourself. We all want to live in our startup environment where there are no rules, one or two rules. The company is small, you can manage, you can pick up the phone and talk. But as the larger and larger and larger and larger, more and more rules come. More and more you feel trapped. A good leader recognizes this and works with this and says, you have to manage this. Because he understands, he hope you are. This is a tathastu as a result of growth. Because you want to grow, this is the tathastu. You want to increase your size, you have to have more rules. Because once upon a time you talk to 10 managers, but when you have 1,000 managers, you can't talk to your managers. You depend on technology. The technology will bind you. And that is darshan. The ability to see beyond the obvious. You see, every human being is seeking validation. You know, in Hindi there is a very nice word for validation. Auqat. This makes me feel stifled, like some chain around my neck. I'm yearning to be validated. We all want to be significant. We all want to matter. We don't want to be irrelevant. I want to be relevant. A good leader recognizes this. A yajman recognizes this. A yajman realizes that every human being seeks three things in his yajna. So every person I deal with needs three things only. Level 1, wealth, food, anna, lakshya, practical, non-negotiable. It is essential but not sufficient. Because that's not the only thing you want, right? You want something more. You also want power. You want Durga. You want solutions. You want status. You want freedom. Freedom is power. I think whatever I like. Status, everybody looks up to me. Solutions, I'm no longer burdened by that problem. Sort it out. Whoever sorts out, I'll make more money. That's so nice. And that's what it is. So you have Please take the next slide, please. Or knowledge. What about knowledge? Does knowledge matter? And when we use the word knowledge, what do we mean? Typically, when we use the word knowledge, people think of skill development, we think of information. Basically, think of knowledge as that which increases our ability to get Lakshmi and Durga. We don't look at knowledge as understanding understanding ourselves and understanding other people, improving our darshan skills. We never think of it as that. We usually focus on developing, getting Lakshmi, getting Durga. We do not think of understanding the other. Usko chahiye kya? It's like a child wants the parent's attention, but instead of giving the child attention, give him a toy. But what the child is craving for is attention. But we give it a toy. And over time, the toy gives him attention, and therefore the child doesn't look at the parent anymore and focus on the toy. That's what's happening with iPads today. Because every time I touch the iPad, I get a response. Every time I touch the iPad, I get a response. Which means I start thinking that the iPad is in love with me. And I don't want to leave my lover behind. That's what happens to us when our cell phones are, we forget our cell phones, right? We panic. We are connected to it. And that's what we want. The three currencies of any yajna. The three currencies of any yajna are these three things. The three goddesses, Lakshmi, Durga and Saraswati. Wealth, power and identity. Knowledge is identity. Very, very important. We want that. That is what completely motivates me and lets me do whatever you tell me to do. If I'm dealing with customers, what does the customer want? Yes, the customer wants value for money. But the customer wants to know that, that report is that you are making me feel not like I don't matter. I want to feel I'm important because I'm scared, right? Nobody comes, especially in the field of work you are in. You will have people who are ill and unhealthy, relatives who are unhealthy coming. So much of fear. So much of fear, especially in these modern hospitals, because everything is so clinical. I'm so scared, I don't know how to deal with it. And I need someone to talk to, and I get this set of numbers which don't make sense to me. It makes me feel powerless. Somebody talks to me and I feel powerful. That's all I need. It makes a huge difference. We used to call it bedside manners once upon a time. When there were family physicians, they used to always talk, pyar se baat karo, 50% of the anxiety goes away. There is always going to be an underlying problem. How do you remember this? You remember this as LSD. Lakshmi, Saraswati and Durga. This is how you remember. So this is what every human being needs, these three things. And if we do it correctly, if we do our yajnas correctly, if we understand the person in front of us, we sense their inadequacies, their insecurities, and we are able to empower them and enable them, then Lakshmi will walk your way. And your workplace will be a Rangabhumi, not a Ranabhumi. It will not be a source of where you are fighting to defeat the enemy. It's not a place of stress, but it's a place where you are performing to delight your audience. And I hope you're all successful and you're able to make Lakshmi walk your way. That's business. Thank you very much. So we have time for a few questions. But I need someone to help with the mics so that I can hear the questions. I don't know that. Someone, let's ask ourselves, rather than that's a theoretical question. More I think it is about what do we want from people in front of us. We'll put the slides there. What do we consider someone in a relationship to be complete? It is we want someone who will make us feel we are important and we matter. I think that's what we are continuously seeking. We do, because we live in an ecosystem where for many people we don't matter, we are irrelevant. What we are seeking desperately from people is someone who makes me feel I matter, whether it is my subordinate, whether it is my boss, whether it is my customer. We are continuously seeking people. Can I have the slides there? So that's basically the thing that matters, because otherwise that's what it is all about.
Hello. Yeah, Vibhalji, I have one question. Yeah. Since you are also consulting to many corporates, so which management practices works? You have said two practices. One is behavior, belief behavior, and business, and another is the talent, target, task, and talent. So which works?
Well, they are not opposites of each other. As you notice, the language which I used over there was very clear. So they are complementary approaches. They are not substitutes of each other. They are not substitutes. The problem with modern management today is that it does not value people too much. It doesn't, because you see, modern management is based on the principle of measurement. Right? Modern management is based on measurement. Human beings are not measurable. That's why even today psychology is not considered science, it's considered pseudoscience. Why? Because you can't measure it. Behavioral science, they use the word behavioral science, but it's technically not a science because you can't measure every aspect of the mind. There are a lot of surrogate markers and there are a lot of things. So then management just keeps away from the human mind. But business is about the human mind. 50% of business is about the human mind, of dealing with the human mind. So a good leader, intuitively, is a good people manager. And the conversation today is about this. And people use words like leadership, change management, customer service. 50% of it is task and target. 50%. The remaining 50% is people's beliefs, which part we don't want to deal with. And now people are slowly talking about it. So across the world, there's conversation on words like diversity. They talk about happiness. They really talk about human psychology. How do I get people to voluntarily do what I'm telling them to do? Not using compulsion, which is very difficult. Right? It's like a simple thing of come to office on time. In principle, people should, right? They signed a contract, they are getting a salary, they should come to office on time. But when you're dealing with large organizations, invariably you will see that people will slip behind. Some people will come late, some people will be laggards, and therefore you start creating systems which force people to swipe their cards. And then the systems get tighter and tighter in some organizations and some use it in a softer way. Why? Because you, by very nature, voluntarily doing it becomes difficult. So what we try to do is try to control behavior. And therefore this is what's emerging.
Thank you.
Yes, the gentleman there, the third table.
I have a question on focus versus perspective.
Okay.
When I go to by senior people, they say that focus on the greater details.
Yes.
Then to the depth.
Yes.
When I go to my super boss, he says look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
So where should I focus? Focus versus perspective.
See, the question is, if perspective enables you to think, focus enables you to act. So, perspective is about thinking and understanding the canvas, the picture. And the better you understand the picture, the better your action is, your decision-making abilities. The thing is, if you only do focus and no perspective, then it is thoughtless action. It is not thinking, it is acting. Which is what you expect from a soldier. So if you look in the army, soldiers are not allowed to think. They are just told you fire, which means to be focused. But the brigadier and the generals behind are continuously focusing on the strategy. They are looking at the larger picture. A balance between these two will achieve the objective. Only perspective, there is paralysis. So it is analysis leading to paralysis, the famous sentence. So that is the perspective part, the strategy part. Strategy is useless without implementation. The moment it comes to implementation, you start focusing on focus. Now the problem is you look at these as two separate activities. If you were to join the two together, you'll realize that one cannot exist without the other. Good perspective leads to good focus. And good focus enables good perspective. So both have to match each other. Was that heavy or are you going to explain take it back? The sudden fall of seriousness coming. I'll explain the concept slightly differently. To those who don't, perspective is a bird's eye view. What is Vishnu sits on an eagle? Garudadrishti. That's a bird's eye view. And focus is Sarpadrishti, the snake's eye view. Now, which is more important? The bird's eye view, you see the whole picture. So you look at a business, at a 1-year business. That is Garudadrishti. But the moment you say today's business, it is Sarpadrishti, focus. So one is 1 year later, I will be the biggest company in the world. But today, what do I have to do? Both are important. Because that long-term decision can enable you to make investments today. So if I have to be a big company, I need to hire 3 more people. But when you hire those 3 people, what are they going to do on day 1? You have to think of that also.